Hey everybody, we're back on the 351 Windsor in the Mad Mustang. So today, last time on this video, we showed you how to install the timing chain on this car. And we're going to be doing the pistons. As you can see, there's no pistons. We did start putting some of the pistons in because I wanted to check number 8, because number 8 had a lot of water in it. And it just happened to have a bent rod. We don't know why it has a bent rod. I think that's maybe why the reason is the person got rid of the car is because the rod was bent. He probably tried to start it and there was water in the cylinder and it went rink and it bent the rod. So we have gotten a new piston and a new rod in number 8 and we honed it out. It's a little loose, but we're just going to roll with it. We need a motor to get this car moving. So I will go over a few things about the rings and all that and see what we have. So over here, we are using a set of Seal Power rings. They're 40 over. And the biggest thing to be sure you have is the instructions to the rings, because the rings will either have like a dot or a bevel or a cut or something. So you need to check that stuff. So let's go over what we have here. So the first piston actually has no marks on it whatsoever, and it doesn't have a bevel or a cut or a groove or anything. So it doesn't matter which way this ring goes in. So there is the very top groove, which would be the very top groove. So then the second ring actually does, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but right there where my thumbnail is, it says top. So this ring is the second ring. It goes in this hole here, like that. Then you have the oil rings. You have all the oil rings, and they do not matter which way they go. And then you have the separator for the oil rings. So let's see, the bearings. So the old bearings that were in here were ACL bearings, and they don't have a date code. So we don't know how long these bearings have been in here. So this is a rod bearing that came off a different rod. As you can see, all the babbin is kind of worn off this one, but still appears to be in good shape. And the crank seems to be in good shape. So we have a set of Malclevite rod bearings we're going to put in, and these are date coded. If you look on them, wrong side, this side here, right there on my thumb there, it says 06 of 24. They are 10 under. These are the new bearings we're going to be using. So after you read your instructions and figure out your rings, now we need to measure the ring groove. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the rings and we're going to put it into the hole that we're going to be putting in. And I like to put the opening down at the bottom, and we'll shove the ring in a little bit. I don't have one of those fancy dancy tools, so we're just going to use the piston that goes in this hole, and we are going to push this in until we are even with the ring all the way around, so the ring is in there level. So once we do that, we are going to run 18 thousandths clearance on the rings. Here is an 18 thousandths or 0.45 millimeter for you people watching overseas. And we are just going to, I can't believe this thing flash rusted that fast. And we are going to check the gap, and the gap is actually perfect. It's 18 thousandths, no problem. There we go. All right, so this ring is ready to get installed. I actually did buy a ring installer. This thing kicks butt. We'll get to that in the next video when we get to put the rings on. So now, if I did need to make this gap wider, I did buy a piston ring file over here. It's in the vise. So what I've done with this is I've mounted it on a 2x4 to get it up high enough the vise, and this is kind of self-explanatory. You would put the ring in here and hold it, and then you would spin the dial, and you would grind down a little bit of the ring, and then put it back in and remeasure it. And then you'd also want to take a file and file this down. So this ring, we do not need to file down, so we will set that there. The next ring, we do the same thing. And the oil rings, we said we're going to do all that on the rings and check and see if any of them need to be filed. Since you're all here and I'm just sitting here, G Junior's running around, we will go ahead and check this ring next. Pop this ring in, and we take the piston and we even the ring out like I said. Then we'll take the feeler gauge in there and see, and it's good, 18 thousandths. So then this ring is ready. And now we'll do that with 2 of the oil rings. I think it's going to be good. I think they're going to be good. So let me get 2 of the oil rings out. All right. So we'll go ahead and check the oil rings now. Same way. I pass the camera to G Junior. Put the oil ring in.
Everybody left, so.
Everybody left. Okay.
Yeah.
Put that in there, and we'll check the gaps. Gap's a little wide on that one, but that's fine. So that one's good. We'll do the same thing on this one. Grab your piston, level the ring out. Go ahead and check your gap. Gap is, it's a little bit hair wide, but good. So we're not going to worry about that. All right, so we basically have all the rings ready to go on this piston. I'll just keep rolling. I'm going to go ahead and pull. It's so much easier if you have the rod in something. So these are my soft jaws for my vise. We're going to put the soft jaws in the vise. We're going to open that up. We are going to take the piston and we are going to set our piston in here because it makes it so much easier to put the rings in. So just stay over there, G Junior, and we'll go ahead and we will start putting the rings in. All right. We need to get a new light bulb for that light too. Trying to keep everything clean. Here, grab me one of the paper towels. The clean pit right there, yeah. Set it on the stool, please. Thank you. All right, here's that. Okay, so also too, we have lint-free paper towels, so I can set the rings and try not to get them dirty. So here is the ring spacer for the oil ring. So this is really easy. It comes off, it goes right on. You don't overlap this one. You just butt the ends up together, and that's all there is to that. All right, so I'm gonna set, okay, so I'm gonna set the groove, the opening on this one, I'm gonna set it this way. All right, now, this is why I love these things. You can come in here, you load it up, you start spreading it, and then you can just bring, of course, now I'm gonna have to wipe that one off. That's okay. It's still, I think this thing needs to be a little bit deeper to hold the ring, but it really is. You know something? I don't think I can use I can't use the pliers for this ring. It's got the holes bent up too much. So we are just going to go ahead and roll this ring in here. All right, there, that one's rolled in. The problem with that oil ring is it's so small, it's actually falling through that hole. That needs to be bent back down. Let's see, do I have anything to bend that back down? Yeah, these things are pretty wimpy. All right, let me get this ring guard dropped. All right, dropped on the ground. It's all dirty and nasty. So we have some brake clean. We'll clean that off. I have another lint-free rag. All right, so we'll just go ahead and, so where is, that one is, okay, so we'll put that one here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll this ring on. Like I said, these rings are easy to put on. You really don't need the, there. All right, let's grab the next two rings, and we'll definitely be using the ring spreader. All right, so we got the two rings. This is the next one. This one, it does say top, and you can see it's got a bevel here. Now this is when these rings are hard to spread. You tear up your thumbnails trying to get these rings on. So this tool here is what makes it really nice. So you come in here and you just open it up until it goes. Look at that. Just like gravy. Gravy. So then the next ring, same thing. It doesn't have a top or a bottom. It doesn't matter which way this ring goes on. And we will adjust the ring before we put it in. Same thing. We spread it, bring it down, spread it, spread it, spread it, get it started in the groove. Pow. The rings are installed. So now on this car here, I'm going to install this ring here. I'm going to turn this ring here. And then the oil ring should be here. And the next oil ring should be somewhat over here, which I do believe it is. All right. All right. Oh, forgot about the bearings. So we got to put the bearings in this, and I'll show you what my dad taught me about putting bearings in the rods. So we're going to clean the oil off. You do not want to have oil on the back side of where the bearing goes. So my dad taught me always to take and start your bearing like this and push it through, because if there's a burr here, it's going to get caught on that burr, and that might push your bearing out some. So you want to just feed it in like this, kind of try to line up your tang, and there, that bearing's in. It didn't catch on anything, and the surface is clean, so hopefully it won't spin. We're going to do the same thing with the rod. We are going to wipe this down, and the tangs are over here. There's a tang on the bearing. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to roll the bearing in, line the tang up, and there, it's in. Okay. Since we're still rolling, how many minutes are we in? We're already started a new video. Okay, so next tool, you're going to need a piston ring compressor. This is one that I bought. I don't know, there's no brand on it. There is a bottom. This is a very nice piston ring presser. And I used to have, you definitely need to get a set of these. These are the Cleveite rod bolt protectors. These slide onto the rod bolts so you don't damage the crank. Now you can use rubber fuel hose. I've tried that. It works. It's a pain in the butt. I think these are so much better. And they used to, these used to come when you bought a set of bearings, but they don't do that anymore. All right. All right, where is my can of oil? It's over here. We're going to take our lint-free paper towel that has some brake clean on it. We're going to wipe out the cylinder, which we've already cleaned. Boy, that's kind of dirty. All right. We're going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil in here. A little bit of oil, rub that around. All right. We are going to take our piston. Now on this one here, that dot goes forward. So I know it goes forward. So we're going to adjust our rings to make sure our rings are about where we want them. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil on this, on the rings, so they slide. That's his bottom, right? All right, I'm going to set this in here like this. Okay, so this is cylinder number 3. There, I'm just going to set that there for a second. We're going to open this up a little bit more. Let's get our rings lined up. Okay, so I want that there. I want that there. All right. We are going to need to turn our crank. So the crankshaft is down at the bottom of its throw. That should be good. All right. Maybe a little bit more oil there. It's oil there. All right, and we'll. All right. You want to use a wood handle or rubber mallet. I'm going to grab this piston and we're going to take and smack on the compressor to make sure it's seated tight against the block, which it is. And now, let me see. We're just going to go ahead and start knocking the piston in. And my bearing fell out. Okay, that's not good. Let me see, are we okay? And the rod is still loose. It should just go. All right. That should still be good. Sometimes they go really easy. Sometimes they don't. There we go. Piston's in. So now, unfortunately, my bearing fell out. So we'll have to get the bearing put back in. Set all the stuff down. Oh, two nuts. All right, and there's the rod right there. I need to clean my hands, but we need to get the bearing back up in there, and then we can go ahead and push the piston the rest of the way in. Let's see. Like I said, I want this to be dry on the back side. So the piston is barely in, so hopefully we can get my bearing back in here. Come on. slide in, slide in. Okay, hey, I got the bearing back in. All right. I need to spin the bearing. There we go. Just spun that a little bit. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and take and just tap on the piston. To get it up here. Okay, actually, let me get a little bit of. Where is that oil can? There it is. Now we're going to put some oil on that bearing. I do have some assembly lube, or you can use some assembly lube, which I have also, but I'll put that on the other side of the bearing. So we need to finish getting this rod all the way pushed up against the crank. There we go. We're pushed up all the way against the crank. Pull our little covers off. And like I said, we'll go ahead and put some of this stuff on this side of the bearing on this one. There we go. We're going to prime this motor really good before we start. So there's some assembly lube. Put some assembly lube. Now the tangs go together. So the tang is down here on the rod, and the tang is here. So this goes this way. And I dropped the two nuts on the floor. Can you get those for me, G Junior? I would appreciate it. And hand me one.
I don't know where the other one is. I can't see it.
All right, see if you can find the other one. Let me go find some.
No.
Here.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
No.
Then it's got to be there. No?
No.
Oh, come on. Okay. All right, well, come here and we'll just go ahead and put this on. All right, so now we're going to put the one rod nut on. Since we dropped the other one and we can't seem to find it. And we're just going to go ahead and snug this up. All right, that one's tight. We have to find the other nut. Okay, so I don't know if you saw in the other video of this motor. Keep looking for it, please. This rod says number 2, but it was actually in the number 3 hole. So I went ahead and marked all the rods here. Like this rod actually says number 1, but actually that is number 4. And then this one here doesn't say anything because it is actually number 8. So, all right, so G Junior has to find the other nut that we dropped. Dummy me. Did you find it? All right, cool. So here's the other nut. We'll put that on there. And we'll go ahead and snug that one. And that one's snug. And that one's snug. Now, I have not torqued any of the rod bolts. All the mains have been torqued. All right. Here, G. All right, let's come back around. All right. We are going to take and put our, and we're just going to crank it over here, get over here, and see, you can see the piston coming up and going back down. We just want to make sure that it doesn't feel bad, feel tight, you know, any tighter than it's supposed to be, and it feels really, really good. So now we're going to put this one down at the bottom here, and we'll go ahead and do number 7. We'll do number 7 next to get that done. So let me go ahead and get all the pistons put in. There's a gist on how you do the rings. The ring installer tool is very, very nice. This spring compressor I have to put the ring compressor I have is really, really nice. It comes with several different sizes to do different motors. So there, I've showed you how to do one. I don't think you want to stick around for the other 5, and we'll come back after we get all the other 5 put back in, and we'll see how it spins over. Okay, we got all the rest of the pistons in their cylinders, right order. As you can see here. Before, when we used to turn the motor over, it had a hard spot, and now the hard spot's gone. Obviously the hard spot was because the number 8 rod was hitting the crank. Well, actually the piston was coming down and hitting the crank. So we're all good here. It seems like all the pistons are going up and down. I did have to file some of the piston rings down, and some of the ones I didn't. So these boards are all over the place, probably, unless the rings are all over the place. So let me flip it over. Got all the rods torqued down to 25 foot-pounds. All of them are torqued, all new bearings. Everything's lubed up. Like I said, everything seems to be turning nice and free, as free as it should, with, you know, rings and everything. No more hard spot. Before, what was happening is right here, the rod was bent, so this rod was shorter, and then the piston was hitting on, I don't know if there's a mark on it or not. Let me see, number 8 is, this is 5, 6, so this is number 8 here. You can see right there, there it is. That was hitting against the piston just a little bit, giving me a hard spot, but that is now gone. So now we are all ready. Short block is now complete. We can go ahead and continue on. We'll get the freeze plugs put in, oil pump, timing cover, oil pan, and then we have to decide. Then I'll have to call. Then I need to call and see if I can order the valve spring. We're missing a valve spring on this because it was broken. They didn't put it on. I'd like to get new keepers and new valve springs for the heads, and we'll get them put on. So we're working we're finally back on this. It actually is nice to get something accomplished on this. Oh, and then this cylinder here that was kind of loose. Oh, I gotta turn it over. Let me put it back on the top. So cylinder number 8, I honed a lot to get the rust out of. That's good. There is a little bit of deflection in the piston at the top. Here, come up again, come up. Keep going the same way, Brian. Keep coming. All right, hold it right there. And this one is definitely tighter. This one might have a little piston slap, but we need a motor to run. All right, everybody, so there you go. I showed you how to put the one piston in, and we finished up the rest of the pistons. So that took all day, well, half a day. And we'll just get back on this. We'll do the oil pump, timing cover, oil pan. We got to find the dowel pins for the timing cover. I think they're at the house. Alrighty, so this closes this video out. So remember, subscribe. You can always do that in that corner there. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the Mad Mustang videos, and we will catch you on the next one.